Hello everyone, let's do this thing e4 in order to again get this bishop activated. And okay, I think I've seen similar ideas. I think I'm going to play d3. Actually e4 was bad, I think. The reason being that I want to play this knight to f3. And now that I needed to play that, I'm not sure where to put this knight. C5, eh? Well, I have to get things going. Activate my pieces. Queen to f4 might be an idea. And knight here. But of course my opponent can easily defend against those threats. I will play b3 in order to activate this bishop. I think I should... I was going to say that I should play c4, but I guess not now. I have to probably take it, or yes, I kinda want to take it, because if I don't, maybe d4 and the bishop will get behind. I mean, the bishop's path is a bit blocked. There was a good reason not to take also, if my opponent had taken on e4 himself. Queen to g5. Is perhaps interesting. Of course I could also castle here. c4 was an option. Maybe I castle next or play something else. It also prevented a bit the activation of this knight, but of course now that the g knight came to f6 to block the bishop's path. Sorry about that. It sometimes goes too far. The cursor, I mean. Yeah, I think I'm gonna castle. Sure, why not? And if this knight moves, then... well, if it goes here, it does defend this guy again, so... it's not so clear. But okay, c4... might have been the move to make last turn, so that my opponent could not do that. Okay, now c4 does make some sense. No, it doesn't. Maybe, well, sorry. Maybe it does actually. If this bishop weren't on the way, then c4 would have been a horrible move. But now that it's on the way, it's a good move, I think. I'm gonna take this in order to activate my bishop, perhaps via c2. Yes, I'm gonna play bishop to c2 now. And yeah, who knows what the position is. I might be somewhat better because this bishop is kinda bad at the moment anyway. And both my bishops are aiming at the enemy king, sort of. Of course there are pieces in the way, but still. Now if this knight moves, then I could take here and do something. Well, actually take here first, but now that the Danish dog played h6, I wonder what to do now. Maybe, well, queen to f4. Nah. Queen here, perhaps? Does have some ideas. So I think this is a way to go. Also supports the possibility for knight d3. If the bishop moves, maybe I can take on e7. Maybe. Depends where it goes. Okay. Maybe knight d6 seems a logical move to make. Well, that is probably good too. I wonder what to do. I kinda don't want to move this. Because otherwise, of course, bishop takes f3 is a thing. I think playing this to the open file is the right idea. Bishop here, then I would probably need to take on e4. And after that, perhaps play knight to d3. That's interesting. I probably should have taken the bishop last turn. Now, however, maybe I play this move. Sure, why not? Playing against this bishop, trying to... I would kinda hope that I can exchange my knight to this bishop. I kinda like these bishops so that I may get some attack going against this king here. But of course, if my opponent will be able to trade this to this, then some of my attack power is certainly gone. But my opponent didn't want to do that, so I'm gonna take here. I guess rook takes now. Kind of would like to play this, but of course it would be very bad in so many ways. Now I can activate my knight. I'm gonna play to f3, then rook e1, I guess. Is the idea. It seems I have now less time than my opponent, so I have to keep making moves quicker than him or her. Okay, rook e6. What to do now? Maybe queen to c3. But then knight e4 perhaps. Do I really care about it? Maybe not. I'm gonna play it here. I said I would be moving fast, but I guess not. And queen on c3 is a bit problematic. I wonder why I didn't go to d3, but okay. Now I'm gonna go to d3 with the queen. Sure. Play one of the rooks to e1, most likely the f1 f rook, so that I can get in the play, but I guess bishop a5 is a bit annoying, controlling the e1 square. If I go here, then maybe knight here. No, wait, rook here, knight here, takes. Should be okay for me, but I guess rook d8 is the thing that I need to be worried about. So actually I'm gonna move the bishop here, and in case rook d8 I'm gonna have to play queen c2. Not really the ideal position here for me. Yes, I'm gonna do this quite quickly. I need to gain on the clock. I mean, get some extra time. I'm gonna take here now, I guess. Knight to g4. But maybe I just play rook f1 there. I could also play queen b2 maybe. At least I'm up on time now. Yes, I'm gonna protect the f2 pawn like so. Then play maybe h3. I don't know. And maybe in some positions even play knight d2 or something. Perhaps next, threatening f3. And of course taking here. Yeah. I think I should be doing quite okay still, even though my opponent does have some play, but I'm not all that convinced that it's so dangerous. At least not yet. Okay. Now my opponent thinks a lot. Interesting. Standard rating 2022. I think I'm gonna play this. It does weaken my kingside a bit, but of course also make some loops for my king. Knight goes back, then maybe I will play knight to e5. Wow. So what's the deal here? I'm just gonna take the knight, obviously, this knight, and be happy. Taking this knight would have been quite risky, I think. Mainly because my opponent would have the h file open for attack, and I'm not sure if I want to allow that. Okay, trade of queens. Now, of course, taking the knight would be rather risk-free. I don't want to take the knight with my bishop, mainly because I don't want to be in a position where I have opposite color bishops. Probably isn't all that dangerous, but I still want to avoid that. Now rook d1, obviously. Well, rook e1 was also an option. Bishop to e5, trying to activate this bishop, and also yeah. Maybe I just go back to c3. And try to control all the important squares. Admittedly, my plan hasn't been all that great, but okay. And I win on time. Okay. Let's look at the game. A bit. And while that does that, I think I'm gonna look it up from the opening explorer. So, e4. The move I chose, second most common. Clearly the favorite of most people has been b3. Which, okay, might actually be something useful to remember. I didn't actually like the position I did get after playing e4, because b5 and then protecting this pawn is a bit annoying. Bishop f3, for example, doesn't seem to cut it. It doesn't seem to be all that good. b5, very rarely played, I guess. In 5 games, it seems. And white has won them all. Okay, I wonder. No, this game is not good enough to be a recent game or top game, at least not yet. Anyway, so d3, I thought that this was the best way to protect e4, but Maybe that isn't actually. Maybe bishop f3 was a thing and I should have played this knight here and maybe play g3, bishop here and play this knight f3 or something like that. It's artificial, b3, okay. And open this. The long diagonal for the dark squared bishop. Okay, c5. But since top games have been this low-rated players, this has not counted for some reason just yet. Maybe a bit too recent game, but okay, knight gf3. And then the bishop b6 move. Which might not actually be all that good. Maybe just play bishop to c7 if played anywhere. The bishop became really bad on b6. Adding some key lines, it was only on the way. I mean, it had this bishop not been on b6, it would have prevented me from playing c4, for instance. Okay, that went there, and now queen g5, the first inaccurate move played in this game. And why is that exactly? Best move was c4. Well, okay. And taking this way, I personally wouldn't like to take like this, even though it opens up the line for the rook, because the pawn on d3 becomes a backward pawn. Kind of bad. I would prefer this takes always, even though it does leave this rook a bit more passive, but the pawn structure is better after d takes c4. Okay, let's see what the computer would have wanted to play. Well, I guess this is okay line, but okay, these pawns, I mean, after most like d4, this bishop would open up, and I don't know. I think these are a bit weak. And I don't really like the way the computer would have wanted to play at all. So yeah, basic stuff really. Queen e3. Yeah, I thought it was the best square for the queen, but then queen b7. Rook d1. Bishop c6. Bad move, yeah. Didn't really like that either, to be honest. Best move a5. Now this bishop is really bad. But I wonder what is the idea here. Well, okay, I guess even this line, there will be a backward pawn. In this case on b3 after the exchanges happen. And sure, maybe white can take on a4, but it might be bad because black can get the pawn back and also after that start pressuring the a pawn and possibly the pawn on c4, so taking on a4 might be a bad idea. Okay. And had my opponent played something like this, maybe it would have been much more even. Bishop c6 move seems to give me nice advantage. Rook c8 takes, here, rook here. Queen c3, still okay, I guess. But you might be seeing that my advantage in the position somewhat decreases move by move. Knight 8 f6, then bishop to b1. Now, the move rook e1, I did not actually rook f e1. I did not want to play. Because of rook d8, and I would maybe need to play my queen to f1. It's kind of sad looking move. I played bishop b1 in order to have a square on c2 for the queen so that I can remain on this active diagonal with the queen. Rook d8, mistake, and queen b8 was best. Now again, I'm not really liking this way of playing necessarily. Doesn't seem all that good for white. It's perhaps okay, but nothing all that amazing. And again, queen c2, bad move. Really? It wants to do this, but why? Oh yeah, nice. Knight cannot take, because if knight takes, it's rook h8 mate. Okay, this makes some sense then. So okay, yeah. Now I understand the queen takes d8 move. Wow, kind of nice. And now it's almost even again until knight to g4. Well, that doesn't seem all that amazing either. Moving the pieces back and forth. Wow. And again, well, and h5, bad move. Somehow this is not all that convincing, moving back and forth. Unless I'm completely missing something, this seems quite silly. The lines that the Stockfish offers here. And okay, rook h6 was the blunder that lost the game. I don't know why my opponent didn't move the... but I guess... Danish dog thought that I would take on g4, not on e4. Had I did take on g4, then my opponent might actually be onto something, but even then I'm not convinced of the correctness of the idea. And of course after that the game was pretty much over. Yeah, okay. But thank you all for watching, and until next time, bye bye.